Thank you very much for the nice welcoming. I hope you can see also our presentation now, because we will have today a description or a nice, that is not my for now. Yes, thank you very much. We would like to describe for you about a very nice journey, a learning and a teaching journey.
Excuse me, we cannot see the presentation yet, maybe.
No?
No, now there. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So, thank you very much. In the next 25 minutes, you will have our description, our tale about very interesting and very exciting learning and teaching journey in the context of criminal law, criminal justice, and in the context of teaching and learning criminal justice and for law students. Actually, the topic what I would like to go through today with my colleague, Dr. Lichtenstein, the following, we would like to speak about a strategic partnership project founded by the Erasmus Plus framework, which has its most goal to teach and train in criminal law, but for and in an international teaching environment. So I would like to speak about this journey, and then I would like to invite my young colleague, Dr. Lichtenstein, to speak about this journey and this framework, how he was participating in this project over the years. And also he will give us some insights concerning methods and ideas how to collaborate of new generation of learners in context of legal education and criminal law as well, or especially. And also we would like to deliver some thoughts about good practices and about what we think, what the future will bring us in this regard. Just a couple of words about the DIGICRIMJUS project. As I mentioned, it's Erasmus Plus funded project. One university, the University of Szeged, my university in Hungary, is one of the part in the partnership. But we have a German university from Konstanz and a Turkish university, Istanbul University from Istanbul. We three are in this partnership project. And as you see here, we found the criminal law in the digital age as a topic, which could be a good environment and framework for new challenges and finding new ways concerning teaching and researching in this area. And this partnership was formally or informally initiated already 10 years ago. But for this Erasmus Partnership Program, we applied 3 years ago, and since 2020, we have the chance to develop our ideas in this regard. At the beginning, before COVID travel restrictions, we planned to implement our activities for teaching and learning and researching, not in a blended way, but afterwards we had to adapt our initial ideas concerning the new challenges based and thanks to COVID restrictions. And so at the end, we developed now we can say a very sophisticated and integrated blended program for teaching and also for learning criminal justice issues. And during this partnership, we will have the finish of or the termination of this project next summer. But I'm happy to report already here that we have managed to develop a special master program in comparative criminal law in the context of digital revolution for law students for the level of master degree. And in order to achieve certain specific goals and outcomes in this regard, we have developed already numerous video lectures, podcasts, interactive learning tools, and study books as well. The leading language of this project is English. However, we developed also for our national languages an amount of content, also comparable content for in German, in Hungarian, and also in Turkish language. We developed numerous and also comparable teaching materials. And one important part of this strategic partnership was, or is still, the organizing and implementing the so-called comparative criminal law seminars. And that is what I would like to, what we would like to highlight or present today in a more sophisticated, detailed way. And the fourth outcomes of the outcomes of this grand project is that we developed and still developing a knowledge hub for issues, for legal issues, and also for issues of development of the world around us, which are in connection with criminal justice and with digitalization and the challenges based on digitalization. And now I would like to speak about our learning and teaching journey, how teaching criminal law in an international environment can be successful or can have added value. You might know that traditionally the legal in countries where formal institutionalized legal system is operating, on one hand, the legal education teaches the activities of legal professionals. In other words, law schools producing the professionals capable of independently solving legal problems of societies and their members. In more ordinary terms, one of the tasks of legal education is the training of legal artisans or industrialists. In this sense, the legal education is very practical. In reality, it produces the human material of legal professional. But on the other hand, however, legal education is extremely abstract and theoretical because it concerns legal order, branches of law, theoretical models of individual legal institution. That is why William Twenning described this duality already in 20 years ago as a Pericles and the plumber. It means that legal education therefore produces Pericles who are brilliant in working with legal branches. And that is if we do our job well. Legal education, it means that legal education nurtures the formation of intellectuals. And if we would like to speak about teaching criminal law, then there are also similarities and differences between the countries. But crime is both a symptom and, unfortunately, an intrinsic part of our modern societies, and we do not yet have a panacea to reduce or suppress crime completely, And while different societies around the world produce a wide range of different types of crime, a significant portion of crime has similar characteristics in all countries. This particularly is true today when globalization and digitalization are presenting societies with almost identical challenges. And the crime patterns that emerge are therefore almost identical. But the social and legal response to these similar problems is not the same. Each country is trying to develop its own specific response to otherwise similar problems. So the following trends can be identified. The countries determine their policies and tools in the broader sense, the design and operation of criminal justice systems on the basis of their moral, cultural, and of course, sometimes political development and specialities and specific issues. One of my professor member of this partnership, Dr. Werner, a German scholar, said that criminal law often only is understood against the background of its culture, history, and the national state. Anchoring mechanisms are not to be detected without respecting state power who set and enforce criminal law. So, and this vary considerably over time, precisely because of the foregoing. The punishability of certain act is abolished and that of others is established, but there are also significant changes, for example, in the design of penalties in line with changes in the content and limits of human freedom. And this is particularly true for crimes whose moral content is linked to the moral state or moral development of the society, or to normative requirements like abortion, drug offenses, euthanasia, and so on. And also similarly, in the procedural context, although the primary purpose and differentia specifica of criminal proceedings everywhere is to establish criminal responsibility within an appropriate legal framework, the specific design depends on the vision of the humans or the vision of the society concerning the humans and their behaviors, and on the way in which the importance of conflicting interests within the criminal proceedings is weighed. For instance, conflicting interests are numerous in the criminal procedure: organizational interest, penal interest, economy of the procedure, victims' rights, defendants' rights, and so on. These differences not substantially noticeable when criminal justice systems are closed and there is no foreign element in the criminal justice system. Everyone speaks literally the same language, thinking alike about moral issues, right and wrong, and everybody's understanding what's going on. And however, in our current context, globalization and regionally EU integration has historically brought about a situation where people travel, settle in other countries, buy property in other countries as part of their daily life. And the transnationality has become a normal part of life rather than a special or exceptional occasion. It also means that national criminal proceedings are faced with foreign victims, foreign defendants would have to accept evidence taken in another country and enforce the decisions of other countries' authorities, possibly completely foreign authorities, while these may be fundamentally different. So we think that teaching and learning comparative criminal law is one of the best tools to tackle all these issues, all these challenges arising from these trends, what I mentioned, but also to implement the Periclesian approach. And how to do so? As we've seen, is that the more or less similar challenges posed by similar patterns of crime are addressed differently by the different states. But this is a luxury we cannot afford in the present situation. To be successful and effective, we need criminal justice responses that reflect the similar roots of the problems and pursue the common goals of reducing crime. Therefore, comparative criminal knowledge and skills are essential in the training of future lawyers so that they can address new and emerging regulatory challenges with the necessary openness and creativity. So comparative thinking allows us to understand the legal solutions of other countries, putting them in context through the lens of these, and we can leave our own legal framework, and by observing from there, we are able to objectively assess our own solutions and identify more appropriate solutions, improve our own legal answers, and where and when appropriate, find more effective solutions. And to comply these challenges of the legal world and learning outcomes for a law degree program, we have developed also a comparative criminal law learning seminars as combining the methods of internationalization, of comparison, and of blended learning. So we developed an international teaching program by applying comparative legal methods. We integrated the blended learning methods with classroom experience by organizing student learning seminars in core criminal law topics. And in the last 3 seminars, we used the digital revolution and its impact on legal system as the broad topic, and let international student teams, German, Turkish, and Hungarian teams, discover the gaps and struggles in connection with the design of criminal laws and with performance within the justice. Here in this slide, you can see the basic learning outcomes concerning this seminars, what I'm speaking about. And I will not explain it in details, but you can make also some screenshot if you have interest, because we developed this learning outcomes in a very sophisticated way in order to achieve really that goals, what we would like to, what we think that is important to survive in this new legal environment, what our future lawyers will face after they graduating. And but it's important to see that not only the chance that we could achieve the learning outcomes with the work together with the students, but also for us, I mean, for all these 3 universities, there was further results in connection with these types of seminars. The most important, what I can here explain, that we introduced all of these 3 universities, the so-called project-based teaching for students who participate in the research work of the project and gained credits in this regard. We had, I mentioned that in the last 3 times we used digitalization as a leading topic, but we had already 9 times organizing this type of seminars. And also we had the chance that if there are good comparative work delivered by the students of high quality, we had the chance to publish these papers, and also that it's important to see that we were very happy on the development that once the students found interesting topic because of these seminars, they continually worked on these topics and developed for further scientific papers for national, local, or international paper competitions. Here, just I'm happy to announce that our concept is selected in a higher education best practice database as a good practice. You can find if you see here the link, you can read also the details concerning this project or this method what we are applying in this context. And now I would like to pass the floor to my esteemed colleague, Dr. Lichtenstein, who will deliver for us further details concerning our journey. So you have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Karsai. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having us. And I would like to share with you my personal story regarding these comparative criminal law seminars. And I don't want to put myself in the center of it, but I want to address how important comparative criminal law seminars in such framework are, because I must tell you that if it wasn't for these kind of seminars, I wouldn't be in academia probably today. And I first joined CrimComp, this comparative criminal law journey, in 2015 as a student, and I quickly learned how important it is to break the ice with other students, because the concept of these seminars are bringing together 30 students, 10 from Germany, 10 from Turkey, and 10 from Hungary, to discuss the same topics and same legal problems, which of course do have different legal solutions, because unlike medicine or natural sciences, where the subject of the research and the subject of the studies are the same, let's say the human body or a certain experiment or a mathematical equation, it doesn't really work that way in legal education, because all countries and all legal systems have their own different answers to the same legal problems. And throughout the years, I was invited to join the Institute of Criminal Law and Criminal Science at the University of Szeged. I also had different roles in this project, starting once again from being a student, then being a tutor, where I found it really important to share my experience with the new generation of students. Then I also participated as a lecturer, assisting and guiding the learning experience of the students. Then COVID hit and we had to come up with different approaches, and we found that how important verbal and non-verbal feedback both ways from teachers and from the audience are. And we had to come up out of necessity first with a blended learning experience, partly because I already mentioned that we don't have the very same subject other than the facts, but different legal solutions, and also partly because of obviously travel restrictions as a consequence of the pandemic. And I would like to tell you about this good practice we came up with, how we came up with a solution to build a common platform despite all the differences in legal education. And we created this so-called CLARE, our own criminal law escape room, which is an interactive online environment where the aim is all these different nationals of students will get the chance to familiarize themselves with the facts of the same case, which is an attempted murder case. They will have the same story, and they will have the opportunity to come up with their own solutions regarding their own legal systems. And this is basically a project-based method applied to legal education in a form of an interactive online case study. And moving on to the next slide, if you will, please. They are presented with a crime scene, basically, with a police report in English. There is no difference in committing a crime. It is always more or less the same. It's the common background. And they have the option to integrate witnesses. They are being asked certain legal questions in order to get the information they need to establish the facts of the case. They also have other types of evidence, but in order to get that, they will have to correctly answer some comparative criminal law related cases. At the end, if they successfully identify the suspect among those possible persons of interest presented, we praise them with some kind of achievement, and this whole system is integrated to our university systems. This was in our original ad hoc idea. It took us basically just a development strategic point of view, 50 working hours over 3 weeks by 4 university lecturers. None of us are IT professionals, we are criminal lawyers. So I'm just saying this because it's perfectly doable and perfectly possible to replicate without any specific IT background. And we received very good feedback from the students, I dare to say. Most of them said that it was so much easier to meet each other first time in person, the foreign nationals, when they had the common background, when they had the common case, because then each of them had this crime they were working on, and it's already in the present that we implemented this whole concept as in a form of quiz, in a form of project-based learning, into the whole concept of our DIGICRIMJUS project. And because this section of the Moving Target Conference is also about European digital strategies, this was our example how we overcome our very specific, or maybe a little bit more specific problems, but how this whole concept, how what we created fits into the European digital framework, into the European digital strategy. Of course, because this is a higher education partnership financed by the European Union, we put our planning in the strategic matrix already, and I am proud to present to you that we already achieved significant results regarding this. As for systemic impact of our project, we were able to compose suggestions not only to the Hungarian AI coalition regarding the criminal law, but we also have suggestions regarding legislation to the Turkish National Assembly. The universities profit from such higher education partnerships. The University of Constance has its own research group on an interdisciplinary research group regarding AI and also criminal law. We implemented these kinds of project and experience-based teaching and learning methods. Of course, throughout the project, all of our colleagues had the chance to develop new teaching and research skills, such as I just mentioned. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have imagined that we will be creating such an online escape room. So it was in itself an experience for me as well, and I dare to say that the colleagues, for the colleagues and students, seem to like it. So it's all worth it at the end. And they are the most important element of our project. We do work for the new generation of lawyers and the lawyers of tomorrow, and therefore it is almost, I would have to say that it is the most important that students will have and are having access to state-of-the-art learning materials on the most recent of issues of criminal justice system, because there are scholarly articles, there are academic papers on the topic, but not so much teaching materials like us. We already in the process of publishing a digital study book on criminal justice issues. And of course, this comparative seminar is not only an educational, legal educational platform, but also gives space to other common European values, such as intercultural and socio-legal exchange. Without that, I even dare to say that without that, there wouldn't be much of a future for our continent and for the European Union. So I do certainly believe in our work and in the work of all comparative legal educators. So that was from my part, and thank you for having us here.
Thank you.